Hi, everybody. I'm waiting for Pauletta to show me that icon that says she's recording this so that she doesn't catch me in between two syllables. I am so happy to be able to be with everybody virtually, although I can't smell you and I can't smell the chicken. So I'm having sensory deprivation, even though I can see you. But I am so happy to be here. I was sitting here today trying to figure out what year of this institutional event this is. And like many old people, I count time by the age of my children. So I was trying to go back to when I was working as an AmeriCorps member at the Urban Appalachian Council and two other jobs trying to get my kids through high school. And I knew that they weren't in high school. And I figured this is our 15th or 16th event. And I'm going to let Barb and Russ correct me on that because Pauletta was in a transition. Barb and Russ was leading the cultural committee and I needed a job. So I wound up coming in behind Pauletta. And when we started this event, we said, Martin Luther King event. Oh, the weekend. Oh, we could do it here, we could do it there. And reminding ourselves that Martin Luther King's work, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, and much of what we call the civil rights movement of the 1960s was held in urban cities across Southern Appalachia. So this is a great time for us to celebrate our customs, our traditions, and our diverse populations who share the same culture. So that's all I got to say for the memory part. And they told me that I could talk to 1:15 and I'm gonna finish early so I can get some credits. At 1:15, I'm supposed to say, Russ and Barb will be our hosts at the main stage. I will be here on the main stage with them and we'll have plenty good music. You can sing along, but you can't be heard singing along, but you can move your lips to the lyrics. That's allowed. You can't see, you can dance, but make sure you got pants on before you stand up. And expect one or two more jokes before the day is over. So I am going to turn this back over to our lovely technical assistants. And the next faces you're going to see are going to be Barb and Russ Childers.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Omope. We always look forward to this event, and of course, we look forward to the fried chicken and all of the prize-winning pies and cakes in the contests at the ringing in. But this year, it's going to be a little different. But I think this is really cool because it's opening up our event to a much wider audience. And uh, as we were as we were listening to the opening remarks, we saw that somebody is actually listening to us in Great Britain, and that is cool. We really like that. This event to me has always been like a family reunion, not blood relation, but certainly relation of folks that share a very deep love for what we do. I, in playing music and appreciating all of the music that comes from the Appalachian region. Um, so this is a wonderful event. We love it very much. I think Barb wants to say something, and then we'll get ready and we'll do a song for you once she gets through.
Well, we're missing the cornbread. Today, as always, everybody brings their best pan of cornbread, and we're missing that. So we looked around for a cornbread song to open with, and the best we could do was liquid corn. So we're going to do hot corn, cold corn.
And in lieu of having a square dance, which we always would do at the event, since we can't be with you to have a square dance, we've invited our friends. These are our friends, Limberjack and Limberjill, and they are going to do a little bit of mountain clog dancing while we play this tune, Hot Corn, Cold Corn.
I'll tell you what, Russ, for this song, this is Uncle Bill And this is Aunt Peggy.
Here we go.
Hot corn, cold corn, bring along a demijohn. Hot corn, cold corn, bring along a demijohn. Hot corn, cold corn, bring along a demijohn. Fare thee well, Uncle Bill, see you in the morning. Yes, sir. Upstairs, downstairs, out in the kitchen. Upstairs, downstairs, out in the kitchen. Upstairs, downstairs, out in the kitchen. See Uncle Bill, he's around and a pitching. Yes, sir. Hot corn, cold corn, bring along a demijohn. Hot corn, cold corn, bring along a demijohn. Hot corn, cold corn, bring along a demijohn. Fare thee well, Uncle Bill, see you in the morning. Yes, sir. Old Aunt Peggy, won't you fill him up again? Old Aunt Peggy, won't you fill him up again? Old Aunt Peggy, won't you fill him up again? I ain't had a drink and I don't know when. Yes, sir. Hot corn, cold corn, bring along a demijohn. Hot corn, cold corn, bring along a demijohn. Hot corn, cold corn, bring along a demijohn. Fare thee well, Uncle Bill, see you in the morning. Yes, sir. Yonder comes a preacher and the chickens are crying. Yonder comes a preacher and the chickens are crying. Yonder comes a preacher and the chickens are crying. Toenails are clicking and the feathers are flying. Yes, sir. Hot corn, cold corn, bring along a demijohn. Hot corn, cold corn, bring along a demijohn. Hot corn, cold corn, bring along a demijohn. Fare thee well, Uncle Bill, see you in the morning. Yes, sir. Hot corn, cold corn, bring along a demijohn. Hot corn, cold corn, bring along a demijohn. Hot corn, cold corn, bring along a demijohn. Fare thee well, Uncle Bill, see you in the morning. Yes, sir.
And there you have it.
Introduce.
The Limberjacks.
Introduce.
And so now, I've not seen our next participants yet this morning. I'm assuming that Warren and Judy have logged into the program. I'm supposed to give an introduction to all of the bands as the MC of the event. And so as far as knowing different people, I guess Warren and Judy are probably our closest friends that we have to the for me to introduce. And Warren and Judy, they play in a band with us, the Rabbit Hash String Band, and we've known them for it seems like forever. So way back in the early '70s or the late '70s, we've been playing music with them off and on, and then of course we started our band, the Rabbit Hash String Band, with them, and generally the Rabbit Hash String Band would play at this event, but because of COVID, we're separated, and our band, the Rabbit Hash Band, has not played in over a year, but they've been playing some shows as duets, and as Barb and I have these Zoom shows that we're doing. So Barb is in the background here, and she's telling me to hurry things up. But actually, if I was on this time schedule, and I have about 10 more minutes to talk to you, and I'm not going to do that to you. So Warren and Judy, if you guys are ready, we would love to hear your part of the show, and I'll be back after they finish. So sit back and enjoy the Pine Ridge Partners.
Well, hello everybody, and thank you, Russ and Barb, for that great little opening there and all the dancing and stuff. We're sitting here in our house with the banjo and the guitar, and we'd like to share a song, one of our favorites, with you. It's one called Bowling Green. Wish I was in Bowling Green. Wish I was many miles from here. When I'm around my old guitar, gather round, my dear, gather round, my dear, old Bowling Green. Oh, good old Bowling Green. If I was a bumblebee flying through the air, I'd fly right through my true love's side. Touch her if you dare, touch her if you dare, old Bowling Green. Oh, good old Bowling Green. If you see that gal of mine, tell her once for me. If she loves another man, I will set her free. I will set her free, old Bowling Green. Oh, good old Bowling Green. Traveling through this whole wide world, traveling through alone. Traveling through this whole wide world, ain't got no home. Ain't got no home, old Bowling Green. Oh, good old Bowling Green. Oh, play that banjo. Wish I was in Bowling Green, many miles from here. When I'm around my whiskey keg, get around, my dear, get around, my dear, old Bowling Green. Oh, good old Bowling Green.
Woo! Yeah, right. Oh, it's good to know that you're all out there. We're having a great time here at the Ringing. We love coming every year. And as everybody has said, we're missing all the pie and all your sweet faces. And one of the things we like best, well, pardon me for saying this, but we love to play fiddles and we love to dance and we love to see people dancing. And we love it when Russ gets the gang up there circling around and dancing. So we're going to do a little bit of singing about square dancing. And I'm going to call a little dance. And y'all can do it at home. So, what?
Yeah, it's
First, you're going to start with a song, right, Lauren?
yeah. Well, we're gonna open this up with a song. You probably want to take off that capo there, Judy, to
Thank
put
you,
yourself
sir.
in the right key. Song we learned from a good friend of ours, Russ Pinkerman. He was a barber in Cincinnati, and we knew him through the Old Time Fiddlers Association, and he was a one heck of a nice guy, and he taught us this song. In fact, he would tell people that he taught us about everything we know, and he sure did teach us a lot of stuff. And this is one called "Gonna Have a Big Time Tonight." And then from that, we'll segue into a little old square dance here. Got my Sunday suit on, got my hair slicked down. Gonna have a big time tonight. Gonna get my honey, gonna take her into town. Gonna have a big time tonight. Going to the hoedown in my Sunday clothes. Gonna have a big time tonight. Gonna keep on dancing until the rooster crows. Gonna have a big time tonight. Applejack and cider bound to make you high. Gonna have a big time tonight. Gonna keep on dancing until the broad daylight. Gonna have a big time tonight. Going to the hoedown in my Sunday clothes. Gonna have a big time tonight. Gonna keep on dancing until the rooster crows. Gonna have a big time tonight. Hear the fiddle playing, hear that banjo ring. Gonna have a big time tonight. Gonna get my honey, gonna listen to them sing. Gonna have my big time tonight. Going to the hoedown in my Sunday clothes. Gonna have a big time tonight. Gonna keep on dancing until the rooster crows. Gonna have a big time tonight.
All right, grab your partner. Get a couple, square them up. 2, 4, 6, 8, square them up. Don't be late. Swing your partner. On your corner, left element. Right your partner, right left friend. Round girl, round ring. Meet your honey, promenade. Promenade to home. Couple 1, swing your partner. Go out to the right, circle up forward, couple 2. And a right hand cross, how do you do? Left hand back, fine, thank you. Now dive through on to the next. Now chase a rabbit, chase that squirrel, chase that pretty gal round the world. Chase that boy, chase that fox, chase that boy right out of his socks. On to the next. Circle 4. Let's dip for the oyster, dip, dip, dip. Dive for the clam, dive, dive. Now dive onto the promised land. Roll the barrel, hang on tight, don't be slow. Now dive through, home you go, swing your partner so tight. That's the end of this old call. Bow to your partner, corners all. That's it.
There you have it from the Pineridge Partners, folks. We'll send it back to Russ now. Thank you and have a happy Appalachian New Year.
Hey there, I just want to remind folks that we do have these breakout rooms in case you want to go and join one of those in addition to then come back and hear some more music. The 3 breakout rooms are the open mic, and there are a few folks who are in there, and others are welcome to join as well. Jeff is in the recipe swap room, getting ready to share some of the recipes, including a biscuit making demonstration. We won't get to eat the biscuits, but we can at least see them made. And then Nancy is on standby. Nancy Laird's on standby to go and hang out in the smoking room. Although I will tell you, Nancy doesn't smoke, but she does hang out, and that's what you can do in the smoking hangout room, is to just hang out and to talk to other folks. You can get into the rooms by clicking, if you kind of wiggle your mouse around, you click breakout rooms. That is sort of down at the bottom of the screen near where I told you the chat button was, and then you can see those breakout rooms and send yourself there. Or if you send a chat to either Aaron Sweet or to me, or just a general chat, I'll keep it open so that I'll be able to see. I can Aaron or I can send you to one of those breakout rooms if you can't figure out how to get there yourself. So just wanted to say that. You're also welcome to stay right where you are, because Russ is going to tell us what's next in terms of music here on the main stage.
Well, hello again. Thank you, Warren and Judy. That was wonderful. I was we're so far ahead on our schedule. I was hoping that I could get a message to you to do another one, but if you think of another one you could do, maybe we can figure out how to paste you back in, because we're really ahead of schedule, which is good, because all week as we've been practicing getting ready for this show, we've been told how cumbersome Zoom is to operate, and Aaron is just making it just as smooth as could be. So, Aaron, thank you very much for your part. And I need to remind you that about this word quilt. If you've got any kind of Appalachian memories that you recall that you think might be fun to share, what I'd invite you to do is go to the chat button on the on your device and just write it out, and then hit send in the chat thing, and that will end up being read by either Barb or Pauletta or Omope. And a little later in the program, Omope is going to share some of these memories that you have. Um, and if and I think we've also got, like, I think, what did Omope say? Something like, what did she say? 16 years? We've been doing this 16 years. And she was deferring to Barb and I, and that's really not a good thing to do, because we're lucky to remember what we had for breakfast. But today my breakfast was very good. Barb did a good job with my breakfast. So I guess with that being said, put your word quilt memories in the chat, and now let's do some music. And the next musical group that we have, we've been limiting our performers to folks that live together, and because of this next group, they have three people in the group: John and Eloise and Liz, and they call themselves the Intergenerational Fiddle Cult. And I've known John probably since the late 70s, when he was over in Bloomington, and he was playing music over there and going to school over there. And Eloise Clark, she's been here in the Cincinnati area for a long time. And then the new girl on the block is Liz Burkhart, and she's I think she's part of the reason we call the group the Intergenerational group, because there are several generations of performers that will be performing today, and theirs is all in one household. So if you guys, the Intergenerational Fiddle Cult is ready, we would love to hear from you guys. And if you think you could put in another tune, it looks like we would have room for it. So go for it, and let's sit back and enjoy their music. Take it away, John. Eloise.
Hey folks, we're the Intergenerational Fiddle Cult here. This is Eloise, this is Liz, and I'm John, and we're just so happy to be in your homes today, and we appreciate you welcoming us to visit your homes. And we're going to sing a piece from the Sacred Harp. It's an old tune that people sing from in shaped notes, and this is called Arkansas. La la so la la so la so la la fa so fa la so la mi fa la so la. Thank you so much. We've never done this before, performed where people literally all over the world can tune in and listen to us. And so I feel like I need to do some shout outs here, starting with our international listeners. Josie's in Paris. We appreciate you tuning in. And we assume Ugo from London is going to be listening to us. And back on the stateside, my awesome cousin Alan and his partner Mira in Louisiana on the North Shore of Pontchartrain. They're supposed to be listening. In the cold of Minnesota, we got Christina and Harley and their friend Sandy. We think Bob Winship is in our family from Washington. Let's see who else. Pat and Bob from North Carolina. We appreciate y'all being there. And our local listeners, a special shout out to Ray for posting this on Facebook and inviting his friends to join us. Lisa Rainey, my old pal from Food Not Bombs. Pam and Joe, Eloise's friends. Pam said she tried to tune in, or she forgot about it yesterday, and I said, no, it's tomorrow. And Karen Arnett, Scott Linford, Nada. I guess that's all I have. How about y'all? You got any shout-outs?
My friend Dave, who's in town, is here, and Bob from Louisville. Hey, and maybe more people, but I wasn't sure if you were my people or someone else with the same name. So if you are, hi. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Oh, and thank you, Aaron, for all the technical stuff. You're doing so well. It's so great, and it makes everything so much easier.
We're going to do a song now that I learned from my old buddy Paul Tyler. We had an act called the Knot Brothers, because we were not brothers. I was Will, and he was Ken. I'll let you think about that for a minute. And we had a whole family of others too, May and Shirley. And so anyway, this is a song called "Remember Me," and it speaks to our. We're going to be leaving at Cincinnati coming up when we're able to, and so this is about that. I also want to say, everybody, we appreciate you all in your homes, staying safe, wear your masks. We're almost done with this nasty stuff. Hang on a little bit longer. Postpone those parties and family reunions, because we're going to make it. So anyway, this is a song called "Remember Me." The sweetest songs belong to lovers from the gloaming. The sweetest days were the days that used to be. The saddest words I ever heard were words of parting. When you said, "Sweetheart, remember me." Remember me when the candle lights are gleaming. Remember me from the close of a long, long day. It would be so sweet when all alone I'm dreaming, just to know you still remember me. face, they take my place when we're apart, dear. A sweeter smile and a love more bold and free. But in the end, fair weather friends will break your heart, dear. When they do, sweetheart, remember me. Remember me when the candlelights are gleaming. Remember me at the close of a long, long day. It would be so sweet when all alone I'm dreaming, just to know you still remember me. Just to know you still remember me. Thank you so much. We're going to turn the program back to Omope, I believe.
Hey there, I'm not a Mope, in case you couldn't tell. Wish I were sometimes. She's such a great storyteller. I just wanted to say we're going to, as John said, we're turning over to a Mope to have a little, not exactly intermission, but a little break from the music to be able to tell a few stories. It's not too late to put your stories in the chat for the word quilt if you haven't already, because she'll have a second time at the very end of the session to tell a few more of those stories. But since we are doing so great with time, I've also asked Omope if she'd be willing to tell one of her own stories as well. So I'm seeing her looking at me like that, hopefully nodding, so that we can get, yeah, she's nodding, so that we can have a little bit of chance to hear from Omope as well, because she, as you all know, if you have seen her before, she's such a wonderful storyteller. Also, for folks who have come in, just to remind you that we do have breakout rooms. If you kind of scroll your mouse around, you should see those breakout rooms, or you might have to hit more, depending on how your screen is set up. And you can go to open mic, recipe swap, or the smoking room, the hangout room. You don't have to smoke to go there. Or if you can't figure out how to get in there, you can send a message to either Aaron or me, or just put it in chat to everybody, and we'll send you to the group of your choice. So with that, I will turn things over really, truly to Omope now.
Who really, truly thanks you. You know, I was sitting here, I'm reading the chat, learning about people's backgrounds, but you know, I'm also dropping some questions in the chat to encourage you to write your memory so that we might add it to this word quilt. Barb Childers found me as a storyteller when she was working for Cincinnati Hamilton County Public Library. So we've been friends for about 30 years. And then Russ joined the Ohio Art Council's Arts and Education program. And at that time, I think I might have been pushing 2 babies in a stroller at some of them gatherings. So we've known each other for a very long time. And Barb started this tradition. We put out pencils and slips of paper, and people would write their memories. I'd share them from the stage, and then she would write them, capture them, and we have a big, thick book with at least 10 years worth of stories. So I picked this one from a person who describes himself as a flatlander, but my kids call Uncle Jeff. This is from Jeff Day. Jeff, I picked yours because it's about beans, and I've got the New Year's Eve ham bone boiling in a stock pot, about to make some split pea carrot soup. So this is in your honor, and it says, I was born a flatlander, but I think pinto bean liquor runs through my veins at times. Often I get a craving to make a big pot of beans. We soak 2 pounds of dried pintos, more for company, overnight, making sure we have some pork hops ready. We let them simmer until the entire house smells of heaven. When they are about done, we make a batch of cornbread and bake it in a screaming hot skillet. We make just enough batter to make corn cakes to eat while we're waiting for the cornbread to be done. If you're taking good care of your iron skillet, it'll jump out of the skillet onto the plate. So watch it. Thank you, Jeff. We know about them cast iron skillets. And if you don't use the right pot holder, you're going to burn your hand too. This one's from Zelda. You guys know Zelda Briscoe. She's a member of the Ohio Storytelling Network. I think me and Zelda met each other when we was kids. She grew up in Madisonville in Cincinnati, one of the eastern neighborhoods in Cincinnati. And my mother had a sister there. And I went to Cincinnati every summer right after Memorial Day and stayed till almost Labor Day. And I met this young girl whose last name was Briscoe. And we got to compare notes. So we think we met each other in our childhood. So here's a note from Zelda. We all went to Aunt Mabel's farm to visit in the summer when we stayed with Grandpa. We got there and it was time for grown folks to sit on the porch and drink lemonade and talk while the kids ran around and played with their cousins. I was just settling into Aunt Mabel's story of her third husband getting gored by the bull when my youngest come running from the back of the barn, eyes as big as tennis balls and completely out of breath. "Mom," she shouted, "come quick and see. Aunt Mabel has a hippo." Well, Aunt Mabel laughed so hard she squirted lemonade out of her nose. "That's right, honey," she told my child as soon as she was done laughing. "His name is Jasper." Jasper was the stuff of legends for a long time after our summer trip that year. He even won first place, coming in at 710 pounds in the hog contest at the county fair. Well, we never told the kids. Sometimes grown folks got to keep a chuckle or two to themselves. I love that. So Jasper the hippo, who weighed 710 pounds and got sold at the county fair. We go from pigs to beans. If you've never been to Mike Maloney and Jeff Day's house during the growing season, you must go by. They got folk art in their side yard. I understand that Alyssa and Mike might be doing a little urban farming up there on the mount. I hear tell y'all might have a few beans out there. Now, if you a real, I almost said the wrong word. If you a real Appalachian, you know there's different kinds of beans. And you got to be clear what kind you're putting in, because that's the kind you're gonna reap. If you want half runners, don't be putting in Blue Lake. And if you trying to get you a Kentucky Wonder, you better recognize and order from the heirloom catalog. This one is called A Bean Grows in Trenton. When I was 9, living on a mountaintop in Kentucky, my mother put me in charge of the lettuce bed. I planted the seeds and tended a beautiful crop of lettuce. The next year, I was upgraded to be in charge of the melon patch, watermelons and mushmelons. Once again, I and my whole family was blessed by a wonderful crop. That was 1950. I have been planting crops ever since, mostly in the form of community organizations. 70 years later, I was visiting my grandniece Brandy in Trenton, Ohio. She had just moved into her first house with her husband and children. It had a large yard, and Brandy and her husband were excited about being able to finally have a garden. I noticed right away that their little son Xander had started a garden of his own. He had planted some beans. They were about 6 inches high, carefully spaced and well tended. I remembered my childhood 70 years and several generations ago, and was glad that some of my family's traditions continue. So that was Mike Maloney's recollection of his grandniece and great grandnephew planting his first set of beans. Some things don't go out of style, and as the old folks say, you just hang around, it'll come right on back again. I think several of us will be planting more beans this spring. So that's the first set. How about we do a little bitty story here? Let me check my time. I've got 1:53. Oh, no. We're not going to do that. I'm going to share some more of these stories here so I can get them all in. This one right here is special to me because about somebody I know. 3 people that I know. You know, it's amazing when you are trying to become a thing, the people that will surround you and nurture you and provide the support like a bean pole or a string pole for you to become the thing that you dream of. That's the way it was with me and the Urban Appalachian Council and its Phoenix organization, the Urban Appalachian Community Coalition. When I first come to the city, I didn't know how. I was child-free, unmarried. I could live there any way I wanted. But when the children came and I had to figure out how I was going to live in an urban environment and not raise urban Black kids that I would have to kill. So I started taking notes and met some people, and happened to be homesick long ago in the 70s and found this festival. And 30 years later, I walked around, found the same people. So if it hadn't been for some of the folks whose faces are here on this screen, I don't think I'd have been known as a storyteller. I might have been known as a good typist, but probably not a storyteller. And one of those peoples, well, 3 of them peoples who loved on me hard, all had the same last name of Hansel. This is Pauletta's memory. Sometimes when we take our traditions and customs to the city, they present problems. Pauletta says, I grew up in small towns in southeastern Kentucky, but my mom was raised way up a holler. We moved around a lot because my dad's teaching and preaching jobs, and almost always rented. But Mom loved roses and would try to grow them, but the Japanese beetles liked them even more. When my granny came to visit, she would tell Mom if she hadn't gotten herself too fine to keep chickens, she wouldn't be having that problem. Mom never did get chickens, but she'd tell me the same thing when the beetles would get my flowers here in the city. You needed to get you some chickens, Pauletta. Your grandma told your mama, y'all ain't take that advice. You know, when I was a kid growing up at Ironton, keeping food growing on the hoof was legal. We used to go to Man's Market and you'd ask for a chicken, he'd say dressed or undressed. And I knew he didn't mean he was gonna put a skirt on it. He meant whether you want it with the feathers still on it or you want him to pick the feathers and hand him to you clean. So I remember that. I also remember stories about my dad that my dad told. His daddy raised 12 kids, didn't read nor write except nothing but his signature, but he worked as a roundhouse engineer for the C&O Railroad. And they lived high on the hall, literally, so that my grandmother didn't work. Well, she worked washing and ironing and keeping them clean kids fed, but she didn't have to work outside of her home. And my daddy said his dad had the hog pen in the backyard halfway up the hillside. Now, for those of you who know Lawrence County, Ohio, you know the hillside is actually Wayne National Forest. So my grandpa was utilizing federal resources so that his hogs could eat the chicken pens and the acorns that was falling out the trees in the forest. Well, I didn't get to see the hog pen, but I did see the chickens in the backyard. Now, the backyard was usually dry except after rain. Y'all know how rain creeks appear in between mountains. So my grandpa's yard had a rain creek, and the chickens that he kept in the backyard would scratch around in that rain creek. And as soon as I got old enough to count, I noticed that on Friday, there was more chickens in the backyard than there was chickens on Monday. And it took me a little while to figure out why we had to scrub the bathtub so hard on Saturday night before my aunts and uncles could get in the bathtub to take their bath. Because before bath time for Sunday, the bathtub was the indoor chicken coop. Yes, I said it. My grandpa kept the chickens for Sunday dinner in the bathtub with chicken wire over top until it was time for them to get dressed. So that's a new one for y'all. That's my Appalachian memory. I'll be back with more.
So, Erin, if you can spotlight me, actually, I guess I can do that myself before we turn on. I see that we have one more story up here. And Bob, I hope you don't, from Louisville, Kentucky, I hope you don't mind having to hear it in my voice instead of Omope's beautiful voice, but it just popped up and I want to make sure we get a chance to say it. Bob says, my mother grew up with her brothers and sisters in a house with their parents in the hills of West Virginia that did not have an indoor toilet. I remember as a child spending time at their house, and they did not get a toilet or bathtub until the late 1970s. So I can remember having to leave the warm house and go outside to that cold outhouse during the night. They did have water piped in from a fresh spring to a sink in the kitchen and to a shower in the cellar. That part was wonderful. It will always be the best tasting water that I've ever experienced. They also warmed that house with a coal burning stove, and they filled that stove with coal they dug up from a coal seam just a few feet from the house. I can remember that lunch was called dinner, dinner was called supper, and all Cokes, Pepsis, and Mountain Dew was called pop. Everyone smoked. Some rolled their own cigarettes and continuously drank coffee no matter what time of day it was. Those memories sound familiar to me as well. So we are running a little bit early on time. And so what I think we can do, I know folks have been looking at their screens for a really, really long time. And you might want to take a little stretch and get some fresh spring water if you can. And if not, get it out from your tap. This could also be a good time to enter a breakout room if you haven't had a chance to do that before Carter Bridge Duo comes on, and or to write a story into chat that Omope can read at the end of the time. So it is about 2 o'clock right now. So I'm going to say let's bring us all back at 2:10. And Russ will be turning it back over to you then to introduce Carter Bridge. In the meantime, if you want to go into a breakout room and you're having trouble getting there, just send us a chat, and we'd be happy to send you to the spot that you want to be. And we'll see everybody else back on the main stage with Russ giving us some introductions in about 9 minutes. Sound good? So we've got a few more minutes before we're coming back into the program. I just unmuted myself, and I gave you guys permission to unmute yourself if anybody wants to just say anything real quick before we turn things before we begin again and turn things over to Russ and Barb. You're welcome to if you feel like having your voice be.
I'm having trouble getting into the breakout open mic room, Pauletta.
You want to go to the breakout open mic room? Okay.
I'd like to go.
I will send you there, Dick.
And then how do I come back? Or am I?
There'll be a button there where you can hit leave to come back. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay, I'm going to send you in there. I have to find you first though. Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm assigning you to open mic. That should take care of it.
Okay, thanks. When are Lisa and Mike going to play?
In about 2 minutes.
Oh, well, can you wait for 2 minutes? I want to hear them.
Let's see what happened there. Yeah, because what I did didn't work. So I'll keep working on it, and I'll send you after they.
Okay, yeah, that's great. Thanks a lot.
Okay, all right.
Well, I'm going to jump in for a sec, Paulette, before we start, because there's a shout out to a few people who've joined, Julia and Ken and Charles and Dan and Jesse, Lucia and Andres, and people from family, not family, music family. But I wanted to say also that we have this whole thing rehearsed because we wanted to keep it under 10 minutes. And I was trying to figure out how to tell people that this is an auto harp. Most of you know that it's an acoustic instrument that is like a piano. You can carry it around with you. It plays all sorts of chorded. You can play it chorded, or you can actually play lead on it on the diatonics. So anyway, this is an auto harp, which FYI.
Sounds great. Thank you. Well, we're right at 2:10. Erin, are you back?
I am. Do we want to let Russ introduce them? And
We do.
Okay.
So I will mute myself and let you do your magic.
All right, Russ, off to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Listening to the stories that are being shared reminded me of a couple things, and one is the coffee. You were talking about Appalachians always having coffee, and we do. I drink coffee from sun up to sunset, and so when you spoke about that, I really Barb wants me to show you it's Dunkin'. She doesn't want me to show you it's Dunkin' Donuts. This morning, I got a nice big old cup of Dunkin' Donut coffee, and always have my coffee with me. And the other thing that I was reminded of is when you have an outhouse and it's the middle of winter, you really have to go before you go out there because it is cold. And that's all I'm going to say about it and the Appalachian memories. Now, if you all have an Appalachian memory that you would like to share with us, please take a moment and share it on the chat button on your device, and we will see it. And later in the program, hopefully we'll be able to broadcast it. And I would, since everyone is giving shout outs to the audience, I feel very, very fortunate to have my cousin, Elizabeth, out in Los Angeles. She was bragging the other day, we were sitting here shivering, and she was bragging the other day that it was 80 degrees out there. And so, hi, Elizabeth. And then another cousin, Susan Hurst, down in Hollywood, Florida. And I'm sure, Susan, you could probably come up with a very good story to share on our word quilt. And then, of course, my dear cousin up in Dayton, Ohio, Becky Bergen. Thank you, Becky, for tuning in. We really appreciate you all listening to our broadcast today. And that's what I was talking about. I think this is such a wonderful experience we're having here. Not years ago, our ringing in the Appalachian New Year was pretty much community based in the Lower Price Hill community in the Cincinnati area, and we had a very small audience of just the neighbors, which is what we were doing. But this idea of having this this event, and it's going worldwide, that is just the coolest thing to me. And I think, you talk about a positive thing about COVID would be us being able to have the forethought to think ahead and to do this program virtually. So our community goes from a little space here in Cincinnati all the way around the entire world. Very cool. I like it very much. So I think what we need to do now is get on with music and stop listening to me. And to do that, we've got our dear friends, Mike Henson and Lisa Pogue. They've been active in the Urban Appalachian Council. That's what it used to be called. And for years and years, they dedicated their working career to that institution and helping folks and guiding folks and just being friends for folks who needed someone to guide them through maybe difficult times. And so I've known them for a long, long time, and I know their music, and I'm very, very happy that they agreed to be in our program today. So Mike and Lisa, if you all are ready, we'll turn it over to you. What? Oh, Barb told me, and the name of their group is the Carter Duo. So Carter Bridge Duo. So there you go. Take it away, you guys.
Thank you. We're going to dedicate this first song to Jim Cook, who left us recently, but he lives with us still. I read about a man one day, he wasted not his time away. He prayed to God.
He prayed to God.
Morning, noon, and night. He cared not for the things of hell, but trusted God and never failed. Oh, Daniel prayed.
Oh, Daniel prayed.
Morning, noon, and night. As Daniel served, serving God while here upon this earth he trod. He prayed to God.
He prayed to God.
Morning, noon, and night. He cared not for the king's decree, but trusted God to set him free. Oh, Daniel prayed.
Oh, Daniel prayed.
Morning, noon, and night. They locked him in the lion's den because he would not honor man. He prayed to God.
He prayed to God.
Morning, noon, and night. Their jaws were locked, it made him shout, but God soon let him safely out. Daniel prayed.
Oh, Daniel
Morning,
prayed.
noon, and night. Oh, Daniel
Daniel
served while here on
earth
this earth
he
He
trod.
prayed to God.
He prayed to God.
Noon and night. He cared not for the king's decree, but trusted God to set him free. Oh, Daniel prayed.
Oh, Daniel prayed.
Morning, noon, and night. So, brothers, let us watch and pray like Daniel did from day to day. He prayed to God.
He prayed to God.
Morning, noon, and night. We do gladly dare and do the things that God will take us through. Oh, Daniel prayed.
Oh, Daniel
Morning, noon, and night. Oh, Daniel served the living God while here upon this earth he trod. He prayed to God.
He prayed to God.
Morning, noon, and night. He cared not for the king's decree, but trusted God who said them pray, oh Daniel pray,
Oh, Daniel pray.
morning,
Noon and night.
oh Daniel pray,
Oh, Daniel pray.
in the morning, noon and night. Thank you. We call ourselves Carter Bridge Duo today, but we're usually the Carter Bridge Bluegrass Band. We really miss playing with our friends from the full band, and hope to get to do that someday soon. We're going to play a couple of Carter family tunes for you that you may not be familiar with. They're a little deeper in the Carter family book. Last night the pale moon was shining. Last night when all was still, I wandered alone in sadness out among the woodland hills. I heard the birds a singing out among the trees and yews, and all the birds, my darling, were singing, singing of you. We're singing, singing of you, my love. Singing, singing of you. And all the birds, my darling, were singing, singing of you. I think of you in the daytime. I dream of you by night. I wake and wish you here with me, and the tears are blinding my sight. Oh, the flowers blooming so sweetly, the stars beyond the blue, heaven itself, my darling, was thinking, thinking of you. Was thinking, thinking of you, my love. Thinking, thinking of you. Heaven itself, my darling, was thinking, thinking of you. I open my window so gently, look out on the dreamy view, and all the world, my darling, was sighing, sighing for you. Was sighing, sighing for you, my love. Sighing, sighing for you. And all the world, my darling, was sighing, sighing for you. And all the world, my darling, was sighing, sighing for you. I am changing, changing season. I am dim with toil and care. When I stand among the angels, will my love know me there? Yes, I know that she will know me in those mansions bright and fair. Mother's love will never forget me, and I'm sure she'll know me there. All for me, my mother wrestled when she used to kneel in prayer. Do you think she has forgotten? Will my love know me there? Yes, I know that she will know me in those mansions bright and fair. Mother's love will never forget me, and I'm sure she'll know me there. Mother's love
has been affected for a sea of deep despair. I will look for her up yonder. Will my mother know me there? Yes, I know that she will know me in those mansions bright and fair. Mother's love will never forget me, and I'm sure she'll know me there. Oh yes, I'm sure she'll know me there. Thank you. So our last song is by Omope Reed, who was raised in Appalachia during the Depression, and she sings about poverty and injustice, family and nature, all the things that sit at the heart of this gathering here, and also that sit in the heart of so many people in the world today. The song is called I've Endured. Born in this mountain 50 years ago, I trod these hills and valleys through the rain and snow. I've seen the lightning flashing, I've heard the thunder roll. I've endured. How long can one endure? Barefoot in the summer, on into the fall. Too many mouths to feed, they couldn't clothe us all. We're sent to church on Sunday to learn the golden rule. I've endured. How long can one endure? I've worked for the rich, I've lived with the poor. I've seen many a heartache, there'll be many a more. I've lived, loved, and sorrowed, been to success's door. I've endured. How long can one endure? Oh, I've endured. How long can man endure? Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. That's one of my absolute favorite songs by Omope Reed. That's really good. Thank you very much for doing that for us. One more time, I'd like to mention the word quilt. It's not too late to get on chat and send us a memory, something that you recall from visiting Appalachia or living in Appalachia, whatever the case may be. We'd love to hear your thoughts. We have one more group, and this is a group here in Claremont County, where I live here in Southern Ohio. It's called the Tellico Family String Band. It's 3 generations of musicians. I'm not sure that all of the generations are going to be there today because of circumstances, family circumstances. But they've been friends of mine. Oh, again, since the early 70s. I remember meeting Sherry Stanforth when she was still in high school, and she's been our friend, and we just love her to death. And her family now, her children have just become good friends of ours as well, and they're musicians. They love the culture. We see them at festivals whenever we go. One festival in particular I'm thinking of is the family the Fraley Family Festival that we see them at every year down in Kentucky. And Sherry, if you're ready, I'll turn it over to you guys. And thank you very much for doing this. We really appreciate what you're doing for us today. So take it away if you're ready, and talk to you when they're done.
Can you hear me? Wave to me, Russ, if you can hear me. I just want to thank Russ Childers for not saying when I was in high school, because it was a long, long time ago. Well, here we are, Tellico Family Band. We are so happy to bring some music to you. And this was a family favorite when we were growing up. It's called Bury Me Beneath the Willow. My heart is sad and I am lonely, thinking of what I love. I know I never more shall see him till we meet in heaven above. So bury me beneath the willow, under the weeping willow tree. And when he finds where I am sleeping, then perhaps he'll weep for me. They told me that he loved another. How could I believe them true? Until an angel softly whispered, he no longer cares for you. So bury me beneath the willow, under the weeping willow tree. And when he finds where I am sleeping, then perhaps he'll weep for me. Tomorrow was our wedding day, oh Lord, where can he be? He's gone away to wed another, he no longer cares for me. So bury me beneath the willow, under the weeping willow tree. And when he finds where I am sleeping, then perhaps he'll weep for me. And when he finds where I am sleeping, then perhaps he'll weep for me. Thank you. So I'm pulling up another song. Before we leave that one, though, I want to say that was one of my dad's favorite songs when we were kids. Now we're moving into a train song. This is a tune I wrote and never really have played. We thought we'd try it out in our family-friendly Appalachian audience today. This tune's called the Mingo Junction Train. It's so serious I need glasses for it. When October's rising wind meets with gray and fall rain, you can hear the final waving of the Mingo Junction train. That whistle sings its long goodbye, then slips away into the night. My daddy's daddy worked the steel mills, Pop and me, we worked the tracks. The brothers swore it wasn't worth his life. He left and didn't look back. Still I broke my spine all day and picked my guitar in the night. 15 years I kept my table full. I believed the world was right. When October's rising wind meets with with the gray and fall rain. You can hear the final leaving of the Mingo Junction train. That whistle sings its long goodbye, then slips away into the night. Factory cloud, local fire, winters, crowded streets and working sounds. On my quiet porch at night, I thank my God for this old town. Now those tin hills stand all around us, rail cars line the river wall. Still is death and rusted out, every kingdom's rise and fall. When October's rising wind meets with the gray and fall rain, you can hear the final leaving of the Mingo Junction train. That whistle sings its long goodbye, then slips away into the night. Once her rail sparked lightning blew, her painted cars ran heat with cold. Another train, another time gone by, a life we cannot hold. Red or cool, two devils black, the border mills, the rail shut down. Here I stand, my bond of blood to love this God-forsaken town. When October's rising wind meets with the gray and fall rain, you can hear the final leaving of the Mingo Junction train. That whistle sings its long goodbye, then slips away into the night. That whistle sings its long goodbye, then slips away into the night. Thank you. So we're entering into our last song called Columbus Stockade Blues. It's a tune we love to do. We've done it since we were little kids. Again, with our family all crammed on a living room floor. And then as we were growing up, we did it with the Cincinnati Dulcimer Society and all our friends at the Fairleigh Festival. So I want to give a shout out to them. And then I did want to say this is my brother Steve, who deserves, well, we might have to make a mistake or something after this because he drove over here from Kentucky and sat with us for a few minutes and is hanging in here on the guitar. This is Aubrey, this is Olivia, this is Eli, playing a couple instruments back here, and our daughter Corinne's in Dayton. Mama's sitting here on the couch, and Dad's watching from above. So here we go for Columbus Stockade Blues. Way down in Columbus, Georgia, wanna be back in Tennessee. Way down in Columbus, Stockade, friends have turned their backs on me. Go and leave me if you wish to. Never let me cross your mind. In your heart, you'll love another. Leave me, little darling, I don't mind. Last night, as I lay sleeping, I dreamt I held you in my arms. When I awoke, I was mistaken. I was a peeping through the bars. Now you've gone and left me. You've broken up our happy home. Go and leave me if you wish to. Never let me cross your mind. In your heart, you'll love another. Leave me, little darling, I don't mind. Leave me, little darling, I don't mind. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for sharing in the tradition of the Ringin of the Appalachian New Year. And I want to say the open mic is also a wonderful place to share creativity. Take care, everyone, and Happy New Year.
Hey, I have permission to unmute myself. So I have done so. First, I want to say that Barb Childers put in the chat, she remembers playing in the back of a pickup truck and watching Sherry dance when she was a little elementary school kid. And now her own elementary school kids are grown-ups with their own opinions. It's just amazing to watch everybody grow up. I am here looking at something that was written by Susan Hurst, it says from Fort Mitchell, but her tag here says she's in Florida. She says, I remember my grandparents' well water, drinking it with a dipper after the bucket was drawn up. The best water in the world. There is nothing like clear, cold, artisanal water. My Uncle Jimmy, actually my great Uncle Jimmy, lived outside of Appomattox, Virginia. And to get water, we had to hike to the spring, actually trek. It wasn't really a hike, but it included some weeds, some brambles, some briars, and a skank, not a skanky woman, a skank amphibian skank. And I remember taking the pole, because I, did the little house on the prairie thing, a pole and two pails, one on either end. And I remember coming back from the spring and saying to Uncle Jimmy, there's something in the water out there, Uncle Jimmy. And he said, what did it look like? And I told him it looked like a snake with legs. He said, good. I said, good. He said, yeah, as long as he's in there, that means we can drink the water. So it just goes to show everything in your water that's crawling ain't nasty. But it also reminded me of a joke story told often by one of my Appalachian storytelling friends about going to somebody's house and being so thirsty. And the man who rode up to the house on his horse looked at the old woman whose well he was standing beside, and he saw the tobacco ring around her mouth and several teeth was missing, and she kept one of them old nasty rags in her housecoat pocket. She wiped her nose every now and then, and he got to thinking, I'm thirsty, but I don't know about this lady right here. So he said, I know what I'd do. Ma'am, would you mind if I have a cold drink of your water, drink of your ice cold water? She said, no, I don't mind. Matter of fact, let me go get the gourd. And y'all know gourd, long handle, dipper in the front, right? And he watched her sip out the front of that gourd. And he said, I don't know if I want a drink after her. So he called himself going to wipe around the corner. And then he realized, well, if there was a hole in the top where the string go through where you hang it up. So he had a bright idea and he turned it around and drank it out the handle. She said, oh, I was just drinking out the front because you was company. But that's the way I usually drink it, straight out the handle, just like that. So you got to be careful. You can't be mocking people. You never know what'll happen. I've got a memory here I want to read. Got two here. This in here is my good friends, Barb and Russ. Whenever we go back to find Russ Childers' grandfather's farm in Lee County, it is a miracle to me how he drives straight to it each time, following some kind of unerring gene memory along unmarked, twisty, rutted dirt and gravel roads which branch off helter-skelter. All that I am sure of is the turn on Big Andy Ridge Road at the fallen down abandoned church the family used to attend. This last time we saw a dog chained up underneath it. I've tried making maps of the route, but every time we turn off onto the back roads, it seems like the logging and oil companies have added another cut through the woods to confuse and confound us. Once we arrive, we find less and less of the old house, which is now used as hay storage. However, the track the mule followed to the mailbox still makes a faint dent in the land, and the spectacular waterfall behind the barn still creates the wonder it must have once supplied to the children growing up there. The magic is in the memories. I read this and I thought about my dad and his father. As I told you earlier, my dad's father wrote his own name and he could read his own name, but not much else. But my granddaddy and my daddy carried us back to Virginia at least twice a year. I would marvel at how my grandfather, who didn't read books, could find his way. And one day my daddy said, well, what's going to happen if that tree that was struck by lightning eventually rots? He said, I'll find another landmark. Well, we laughed because sometimes I'd go to Ironton, I'd just stop by, go see Grandpa, and he'd be gone. And I'd finally ask Uncle Richard, where is your daddy? He done went to Virginia. He said he needs to see Jimmy. So, we grew up with our grandfather making them trips. But this past April during the COVID, one of my daddy's first cousins passed away, the youngest, that now leads only him and the oldest. And they called him to ask him to come down home and do the funeral. Now, needless to say, none of my father's children were happy. We all understood the request, but none of us was happy. And my daddy put his 91-year-old self in his Lincoln and drove himself to Appomattox, Virginia, without stopping, did that funeral, and was back home in 48 hours. We all applauded him, and then we plotted to make sure he never, ever does that again. We don't think that he needs to replicate that journey at 92, even though when he's long gone, we'll still be telling stories about him and Willie driving to Virginia whenever they felt like seeing folk. Didn't matter about telephones, wasn't nothing like a good hug. So I've got one more here that I'm going to read, and it's by our young technician, Aaron Sweet, who is also a wonderful writer. This is a great memoir. I spent many a night out on the back porch, looking up at the stars with my father. Our backyard bordered the Daniel Boone National Forest. We'd marvel at the sunset and watch the sky fade from brilliant shades of pinks, purples, and oranges to the deepest blacks and blues at dusk. He would point out constellations, and my adolescent mind would confuse airplanes and satellites for shooting stars. He kindly corrected me. We would wonder where in the world airplanes were headed based on the direction they were coming from and headed toward. We would dream up fictional characters on those planes and fantasize about the places they came from and the beautiful places they were going. It was on that back porch in Whitley County, Kentucky, that I realized how big my world universe truly is. I dreamed of being on that airplane, looking down at the miniature looking houses and ant-like cars on winding roadways. I dreamed of living in a city where I could catch a plane to anywhere. Now, it's hard to see the stars living so close to the city. I cannot sit on my Covington, Kentucky back porch and watch them magically appear as I did back home. It feels at times that I've traded twinkling constellations for fluorescent lights and tall buildings. It feels at times I've traded cricket chirps and frog croaks for mufflers annoyed by stop signs and conversations from passerbys on the sidewalk. It feels at times like I've traded the magic of my youth for a life dreamed up as a child. I remember being in Virginia and talking about it being slam dark. So dark you couldn't even see your brother's eyeballs if he was standing next to you. I remember getting on them back roads that had 4 numbers and no lines on the side and wonder how in the world my cousins negotiated them curves doing 65 miles an hour. And one of the most cherished memories I have is when my great uncle Jimmy and my great aunt Belle sat on the porch of their no running water, heated by coal. She cooked everything on a wood burning stove kind of house, and watched their daughter build an all electric home on land that they used to crop on shares. Aren't memories just wonderful? Thank you guys for listening, and I'm turning it back over to Miss Pauletta.
Hey guys, thanks so much, Omope. So we have a little bit of time. Don't have much of a voice. We have a little bit of time before Russ and Barb will take us out with a song, and we thought that this could be a good time to for folks to have a chance to share a few of their own reflections about this gathering, and talk a little bit more about the event. So I thought actually I would start, and you guys aren't expecting this, I know, but I'll just say it very slowly so you can get ready. But we had 3 people lead the breakout groups, and I wondered if that's Jeff and Nancy and Sherry, and I wonder if I could start with Jeff, and if Jeff would be willing just to say a few things about what happened in the recipe swap group, and then we can move to Nancy, and then move to move to Sherry after that. And I wonder if maybe we don't necessarily need to be spotlighted after that, but we'll have a chance to see folks, and to see if folks want to raise their hand to share any reflections of their own. But let's turn it over to Jeff first.
Right. Oh, I'm unmuted now. Hi, good to see everybody. We didn't have a lot of people, but I think we had a really great time. We talked about the recipes that have been shared for the recipe swap, we have 9 in a document. Now I can share the how to see that document. Actually, no, I actually put that already in the chat, so you can see that there. And I did actually make biscuits that came out of the oven during our meeting. Here they are. And we had a good time, talked about a lot of things, got to meet some new people, but again, I know the music and the storytelling was so good that a lot of people will have to catch up on this later. And if anyone has recipes they want to share, I think we might be having enough to come up with a booklet or a cookbook sometime soon. So please use the link and still add new ones, because we'll be glad to take them. Thanks.
Thanks, Jeff. So Nancy, are you here? Would you like to speak up?
Okay, I'm here. It was great. I saw that Joanne and Renee. Joanne was from England, is from England. They were on, and I was trying to get to my room. Like, I was having a hard time to get to my room, and Pauletta sent me, and we had the best conversation. And Mike came in, Melissa came in, different people came in and out. It was really neat. It was great to talk to someone from a different country and hear what was happening with them, and share with what was happening with us. And it was really fun. It was a nice conversation. It was a nice sharing time.
Great, thank you, Nancy. Thanks so much for checking in. And Sherry, are you with us? Would you like to unmute yourself and say anything about what happened in your open mic group? So Sherry was having to run back and forth between a couple of different things, so she may not be there, but I know Chuck was. Chuck, is it okay if I unmute you?
Absolutely. So yeah, our open mic group, what a intimate, spontaneous session. I think we run around 3 or 4 times with all the participants. We alternated between poems and songs. And it was wonderful. And it really was an open mic unlike any that I've ever been to. And I would love to do more of that. And what a great group. So thanks to all of you for hosting this. And again, it was marvelous.
Great, thank you, Chuck. And I just got a message from Sherry saying that she was trying.
Hi.
Are you there now?
Yeah, it said host won't let me unmute. So I thought maybe I'd run my mouth too long. But no, I'm hang on, I'm trying to unvideo too. Knowing okay, that's okay. The host has disabled my video. Oh, now
I just asked you to start the video. There you go.
That's okay. I just wanted to tell everybody that it was very meaningful and healing for me to be part of this. And here's my brother walking out the door. He's part of our family too. Bye, Steve. I felt like the open mic was intimate, but very meaningful. It was fluid. I don't know, Chuck, if you agree with this. It felt like a very natural gathering of writing friends.
That's great. Yeah. Thank you, Sherry. So we have just a couple more minutes, and if anyone, I'll go ahead and allow folks to unmute themselves. But if you know how to use the raise your hand feature, I'll keep an eye out for that. But otherwise, if anyone does have anything they'd like to share briefly before we turn things over to Russ and Barb again, you can either raise your hand or you can speak.
This is Mike Maloney. I was just really pleased at how things worked out today, and really appreciate the leadership that Pauletta, you have provided, and Omope and Jeff and others, and all the workshop or the section leaders. I attended part of Sherry's group and really enjoyed it. And I went down and ate one of Jeff's biscuits during the session, and that was great.
Rub it in, Mike, rub it in. So Judy of Pineridge Partners, I just muted you again because when I unmuted you, I started to get feedback. Were you wanting to say something? Okay, all right. sorry about that, but that's what happened there. Any other final comments? And yes, Melissa just put in some things in the chat, and we're missing everybody too, Melissa. But one of the things that Melissa put in the chat, and that's another way you can share any reflections, is she's looking forward to seeing the whole recording, and we will post the recording on our Facebook, not our Facebook, well, maybe on our Facebook page, but what I meant to say is on our website in a few days. So if you missed anything, if you're in the breakout room and you missed any of the main stage, or if you know people who would have wanted to be here and couldn't be here, you can tell them about that. And we should be able to email everybody to let them know when that's up.
That's exactly what I was going to ask. Can we have a link so we can share it with folks who would have liked to have been here, or who we'd like to hit up and tell them next time we do this, they need to be here?
Yeah. So the link is actually, it's our website link. It's the uacvoice.org. And once you're there, you'll find in the menu, you'll find a tab for Ringin in an Appalachian New Year that you can go to. So that's where it will be. And we'll send it out in the newsletter, maybe not tomorrow's newsletter, because probably Erin might need to take a little break and not do a bunch of fancy stuff
she don't need no break
with the newsletter tomorrow. But so maybe not in tomorrow's newsletter, but if not in tomorrow's, then in next Monday's newsletter.
Can I say something really quickly?
Sure.
I just like a thank you I want to express is, of course, to you, Pauletta, for stitching all of the loose parts together. But Erin, you did an incredible job. I know we haven't ever gotten to even be in each other's presence, I don't think, yet. Soon, I hope, maybe once. But I just can't thank you enough for people need this. People are so hungry for it. And I know between you and Pauletta and also John Beal and Russ and Barb Childers just coordinating all those extra sessions for us when we
Yes.
needed it. Just so very thankful.
Thank you. Yes. Took a lot of hands.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a village, doesn't it? so to speak, or at least a community coalition.
It takes a coal camp.
That too. Any final thoughts? I'm trying to keep an eye on to see if
Dick,
anybody
did
has
you
any-
wanna say something? I know you raised your hand earlier. You're unmuted, so if you want to, go for it.
Sure. A lot of folks have commented on this in the chat, but the open mic reading was, as Chuck said, different than any I've attended to because people responded to each other's work. It was like a conversation. I think somebody wrote in the, Pam wrote, it was like sitting on the porch singing and
Yep.
swapping stories, that it was a responsive reading as opposed to people coming necessarily with
Right.
prepared work. And I'd like to see more of that.
I was moved over and over again. I agree.
Right. Thank you all for piloting that out and also for letting us know how well it went. I also would like to see more of these sort of informal groupings, and so we'll see if we can't work on that as well.
I just want to say this was fantastic. Thank you so much for doing it. I got to see people that go back in my life 25 or more years, and as well as a brand new friend across the pond. So it's been fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Renee. Right.
Oh.
So with that, I will ask Aaron to spotlight Russ and Barb, and they're going to take us out with a song. And I'll also just say that I'll say this is my Zoom account. I'll stay on the meeting after the song is gone until everyone is left, just in case there's folks would like to say a few more things after the program is officially ended.
Well, hi. This has been absolutely a joy, seeing all of our friends and all of the music that was created and poems, and just the whole day. It's been fantastic, and it's really cool, as I said, that it's gone really around the world. So we've got a song here that we're going to sing, and there really is a part for you to sing with us. I don't know what it'll do to the Zoom performance, but if you all would sing it, and you'll get the idea of how it works. Are you ready?
Instead of the usual Appalachian goodbye, which can go
Are you
on.
doing here or no?
Oh, you're fine. Yeah.
Our meeting is over. If I never see you more, I will love you in my heart. We will meet on the shore. We'll meet on the shore and we'll sing forevermore. Brothers, now our meeting is over and surely we must part. And if I never see you anymore, I will love you in my heart. We will meet on the
shore.
On the shore.
We meet on the shore.
Forevermore. Sisters, now our meeting is over and surely we must part. And if I never see you anymore, I will love you in my heart. We will meet on the shore. We will meet on the shore. And we'll sing forevermore.
shore.
We will
meet on the shore.
We will meet on the shore and we'll sing forevermore. We will meet on the shore. We will meet on the shore. We will meet on the shore and we'll sing forevermore.
On behalf of the Urban Appalachian Community Coalition, we thank you for joining us today. To all our old and new friends, see you next year.
Bye-bye.